Hello everyone, today I am going to explain you Unit 1 School Years Section 1 A Hero Chapter, which is the first chapter of the book. So let's start. This chapter is about Swami's fears and nightmares. So Swami is scared of dark, ghosts and other things. So in this chapter we'll read what all he has to face and what all of what he is scared of. So, for Swami, events took an unexpected turn. This means, here it means that Swami is a boy, so for him, events took an unexpected turn, which means that his father always did the unexpected, what he has not expected. Father looked over the newspaper. He was reading under the hall lamp. This literally means that father was reading the newspaper in the hall and under the hall lamp, and said, "Swami, listen to this." And he said Swami to listen to what he is saying. News is to hand of the bravery of a village lad who, while returning home by the jungle path, came face to face with a tiger. So he is saying that Swami, listen to this, what I am saying. News is to hand of the bravery. News is of the bravery of a village lad. A lad here means boy. So the news is of the bravery of a village boy who, while returning home by the jungle path, who when he was returning home by the jungle path, by the jungle, came face to face with a tiger. He came face to face with a tiger. He saw the tiger. The paragraph described the fight the boy had with the tiger. So the paragraph, which was the article in the newspaper, described the fight the boy had with the tiger. So how did the boy fight, and all that was written in the article of that newspaper. And his flight up a tree, where he stayed for half a day till some people came that way and saved him. So it's just saying that how did the boy fight with the tiger. So he climbed up the tree. And he stayed there for half a day till some people came that way and saved him. So he climbed up the tree and he stayed there for half a day. Till people came that way and saved him. So when the people came and saved him, then only he came below the tree. For half a day he had stayed on the tree only. After reading it through, father looked at Swami fixedly and asked, "What do you say to that?" This means that after Swami's father had told him about the story, father looked at Swami fixedly. Father looked at Swami and asked, "What do you say to that?" What do you have to say to that? Do you have something to say like that only? Swami said, "I think he must have been a very strong and grown-up person." Swami replied his father that, "I think he must have been a very strong and grown-up person, not at all a boy. How could a boy fight a tiger?" So he couldn't believe that a boy could fight a ferocious tiger. So he thought that he couldn't be a boy at all. He must have been a very strong and grown-up person. Then only he could have fought the tiger. "You think you're wiser than the newspaper?" Father sneered. So sneered means to show that you have no respect for somebody with your facial expressions. "You think you're wiser than the newspaper?" So father sneered that, "You think you're wiser than the newspaper? Do you think you are intelligent? Wiser means intelligent. So do you think you are intelligent than the newspaper? Then he says, a man may have the strength of an elephant and yet be a coward, whereas another may have the strength of a straw. But if he has courage, he can do anything. So he is saying that a man may have the strength of an elephant. That a man can have a strength like an elephant means that a man may be very strong and yet be a coward. And he's saying, but sometimes that man can be a coward. A coward is a person who has no courage and is like afraid in dangerous situations, and he couldn't fight with anyone. Whereas another may have the strength of a straw, but the another person can have the strength of a straw, which is that he or she can have he or she can have a little strength, only little strength. But if he has courage, he can do anything. But if he has courage, he can do anything. He can do anything. He can fight with anyone, and he can overcome the situations. And he's saying then, courage is everything. Strength and age are not important. He's saying that courage is everything. Courage is only important, and strength and age are not important. Strength and age are not important. He is saying this by an example. So Swami disputed the theory. So disputed meaning is written in the book itself. So disputed means question whether something is true and valid. So he couldn't believe the theory his father said. He couldn't believe that a boy could fight a ferocious tiger even he had courage. How can it be, father? He says, how can it be? How can it happen, father? Suppose I have all the courage. What can I do if what can I do if a tiger should attack me? So he's saying that suppose, let's take an example that I have all the courage. I have all the courage. What can I do if a tiger should attack me? Then if I have all the courage, so he's saying that for example, I have all the courage. What can I do if a tiger should attack me? What should I do? What can I do if a tiger should attack me? If a tiger attacks me, what can I do if I have all the courage? Leave alone strength. So father is saying, leave alone strength. Can you prove you have courage? He is saying that leave the strength alone. Can you prove you have courage? Can you just prove that you have courage also? Let me see if you can sleep alone tonight in my office room. So he is saying that let me see if you have all the courage, and if you have courage, you will be able to sleep alone tonight, in my office room, in his office room. So he's saying Swami to sleep alone in his office room. A frightful proposition, Swami thought. So a Swami thought proposition meaning is written, that is proposal. So Swami is saying, Swami is wondering that a frightful proposition, a very scary proposition, a very scary proposal, because he is scared of darkness and ghosts. So he is saying that how can I sleep? He is just wondering, how can I sleep alone? He had always slept beside his granny in the passage. So he has always slept beside his granny. He always sleeps with his granny, and he can't sleep alone in the passage. So passage basically means a place in the house where from where rooms are connected. So there isn't a door, so it's type of a hall only. and any change in this arrangement kept him trembling and awake all night. And if there was any change, like he slept alone. If he slept alone, it would keep him trembling and awake all night. So trembling basically means to shake because you are frightened, and awake all night. And he would not be able to sleep properly. He would be awake all the night because he has the habit of sleeping beside his granny only. He hoped at first that his father was only joking. He wondered. He hoped that. He firstly hoped that his father was only joking. He didn't mean what he said. He was just joking. And he mumbled weakly. Then he mumbled. Mumbled means to speak very silently, not loudly, so that nobody could hear. He mumbled weakly, yes, and tried to change the subject. He we can say that he spoke to himself, yes, and tried to change the subject. And he tried to change the subject because he couldn't sleep alone in the office room. So he tried to avoid this situation. Sorry. He said very loudly and with a great deal of enthusiasm. He said very loudly and with a great deal of enthusiasm. So enthusiasm means to be very excited, we are going to admit even elders in our cricket club hereafter. So he's saying that from now he's just trying to change the subject. So he's saying he's telling his father that from now we are going to admit even elders in our cricket club. So maybe he has joined the cricket club, and he's saying that from now they are going to admit even elders. Maybe maybe before only children could play cricket in that cricket club, but he's saying that from now even elders are admitted in the cricket club. We are buying brand new bats and balls. So he's saying that we are going to buy brand new bats, branded new bats and balls for the cricket club. Our captain has asked me to tell you. So he's saying that his captain has asked him to tell his father to join the cricket club because now elders are even admitted in the cricket club. We'll see about it later. Father cut him. So father stopped to father stopped Swami to say, and he said that we'll see about it later. We'll talk about it later. You must sleep alone hereafter. So now Swami realized that he was not joking. He was serious about that matter. So as he said that you must sleep alone hereafter, and he also cut in when Swami was speaking. Swami realized that the matter had gone beyond his control. So Swami has now realized that his father was really serious about that matter, and he is also thinking that the matter of sleeping alone in the office room had gone beyond his control. That he couldn't do anything. He would have to sleep alone in the office room. From a challenge, it had become a plain command. So firstly, father was challenging when he said so to Swami, but now it has become a plain command. So it's just that Swami has to follow this, and he doesn't have any option. He knew his father's tenacity at such moments. So he knew his father's tenacity. So tenacity means firmness. So he knew that his father was firm on his decisions. Whatever he said, he was firm on that. It just basically means that he didn't ever change whatever he said at such moments. So at such moments he knew his father's firmness. From the 1st of next month, I'll sleep alone, father. So Swami again tried to avoid the situation, and he said that from the 1st of next month, so he tried to say from the 1st of next month, from the first day of the next month, I'll sleep alone, father. I'll not sleep alone from now, from tonight. No, you must do it now. So father is really serious about that matter. So he says, no, you must do it now. No, you have to do it now. It is disgraceful. Disgraceful means that it is very bad. Sleeping beside granny or mother like a baby. So he's saying that it is very bad. It is very shameful for your kind of child to sleep alone to sleep beside his granny or mother like a baby. You are in the second form, and I don't at all like the way you are being brought up. So he's saying that you are in the second form, and I don't at all like the way you are being brought up, and I don't like whatever I don't like the way you sleep with your mother or grandmother like a baby, because you are now grown up. Now you have to sleep alone. So he is just saying that. He said, and looked at his wife who was rocking the cradle. He said this and looked at his wife and looked at his wife. So he looked at his wife who is Swami's mother, who was rocking the cradle. So she was rocking the cradle. Maybe some baby was there, so she was rocking the cradle. Why do you look at me while you say it? She asked. So her mother, Swami's mother, asked, why do you look at me while you say it? Why are you looking at me when you are saying this to Swami? She asked. I hardly know anything about the boy. I hardly know. She's saying that I don't know much about the boy, about Swami. No, I don't mean you, father said. So father is saying that no. I don't mean you. I really don't mean you. If you mean that your mother is spoiling him, so she is saying that if you mean that your mother, who is Swami's grandmother, is spoiling him, that she is letting him sleep with her. So if you mean that your mother is spoiling him, if you think that your mother is spoiling the boy Swami, tell her so. Then tell her so. Why don't you look at me? And don't look at me. And don't look at me. And just tell your mother about this. She said and turned away. She said this to Swami's father and turned away. And turned away and started to rock the cradle again. Okay. Swami's father sat gloomily gazing at the newspaper on his lap. So Swami's father again started to look. Gazing means to look. Look at the newspaper on his lap, which was on his lap. Swami rose silently and tiptoed away to his bed in the passage. So Swami rose silently and tiptoed. Means he was sitting. So he stood up and tiptoed away to his bed in the passage. So it's already told in the story that in the passage. So he tiptoed away to his bed. So he tiptoed means to walk lightly on the toes. So he was walking lightly so that nobody could hear. That's the main thing. He tiptoed away to his bed in the passage. So he tiptoed to the passage where his bed was. where he always slept. So Granny was sitting up in her bed. Granny was sitting on his bed and remarked, and she said, "Boy, are you already feeling sleepy? Don't you want a story?" So she's saying, Swami, that boy, are you already feeling sleepy? Do you feel very sleepy? Do you feel very sleepy? Don't you want a story? So maybe always before sleeping, Swami's grandmother told him a story. So she's asking, don't you want a story? Don't you want to hear a story from me? Swami made wild gesticulations to silence his granny. So the author is saying Swami made wild gesticulations. Gesticulations means gestures of hands and face, and Swami made wild gesticulations to silence his granny. So he tried to make his granny silent, and he also tried to and he himself also tried to not speak. So that's why he spoke what he wanted to with gestures of his hands and face. But that good lady saw nothing. But it's just describing the grandmother, that she was a good lady and she saw nothing, and she couldn't understand anything. She couldn't see anything. So Swami threw himself on his bed and pulled the blanket over his face. So Swami almost ignored his grandmother, because if he was speaking, then his father would listen. So Swami threw himself on his bed. So Swami slept on his bed. Swami laid down on his bed and pulled the blanket over his face and covered his face with the blanket. Granny said, "Don't cover your face. Are you really very sleepy?" So Granny is simply saying that don't cover your face. She is saying him to not to cover his face with the blanket. Are you really very sleepy? So she's asking that are you really very sleepy? Are you very sleepy? Do you want to sleep now? Swami leaned over and whispered, Please keep quiet, Granny." So Swami lay down on the bed and whispered. And whispered is just like to mom. It's just somewhat similar to mutter. And mutter I have already told. Mumble and muttered are just the same. So mumble I have already told that mumble means to speak very silently. But here whisper means to mumble means to speak very silently so that nobody could hear. But whisper means to speak silently, but only one person could hear. Like when you tell a secret to your friend or somebody, then you whisper in his or her ears. So Swami also whispered, Please keep quiet, Granny. Please keep quiet, Granny. Please don't speak. Don't talk to me, and don't let anyone call me, even if the house is on fire." So he's saying that don't talk to me, don't speak anything to me, don't talk to me, and don't let anyone call me, even the house is on fire, and don't let anyone see me, don't let anyone call me, even if the house is on fire. So the author is just exaggerating that even if the house is on fire, then also don't call me, or don't let anyone make me asleep. He turned over, curled and snored under the blanket till he found his blanket pulled away. So he turned over, he curled. It just simply means the movements he had done, he was doing when he was sleeping, and snored. And snore. So snore means when we are asleep, we make sounds. So that's called snoring. So he snored under the blanket which from which he had covered his face till he found his blanket pulled away. But he found his blanket being pulled away. So he must be his father. So let's see who had pulled the blanket. Presently, father came in and stood over him. So now father came and stood over him. So father had pulled the blanket away, and he was standing. He saw Swami. He was standing there only. Swami, get up, he said. So he said, Swami, get up. Means Swami, don't sleep. You have to get up. He looked like an apparition in the semi-darkness of the passage. So apparition means a spirit or ghost. So you can understand it by ghost. He looked like an apparition. He looked like a ghost in the semi-darkness. Because there was darkness, so he looked like a ghost of the passage. The passage, I have already explained what is passage, which was lit by a cone of light from the hall. And in the hall, a cone of light was burning. So then the passage was also lit by that cone of light. Swami stirred and groaned as if in sleep. So Swami made sounds when we are asleep. So he tried to pretend that he is sleeping. So father said, "Get up, Swami." He again said, "Get up, Swami, don't sleep." Granny pleaded, "Why do you disturb him?" So Granny was pleading. Pleading means to say almost with the word please. So that's, why do you disturb him? So she's saying that, why are you disturbing him? Let him sleep. Get up, Swami, he said for the fourth time, and Swami got up. So father again said, "Get up, Swami," and he said it for the fourth time, and he said it for the fourth time. He has already said it 3 times, and now it is the 4th time. So Swami got up. Swami got up because of the fear of his father. Father rolled up his bed, took it under his arm, and said, "Come with me." Father rolled up his bed and took it under his arm. So in the picture it is shown how he has rolled his bed and took it under his arm and said, "Come with me." Swami looked at his granny. And he also said, "Come with me." He said to follow me. Swami looked at his granny, hesitated for a moment, and followed his father into the office room. Hesitated means to be worried, like not exactly worried, but it's just simply that when we do anything, we are hesitated because we wonder if it is uncertain or it is valid, it is correct or not to do that. So he hesitated for a moment. He also was scared of darkness and ghosts. So he hesitated and followed his father into the office room. And then he followed his father into the office room. So father went to the office room and he followed him as said by his father. On the way, he threw a look of appeal at his mother, and she said, "Why do you take him to the office room?" So on the way, when he was when he was going to the office room, on the way only, he threw a look of appeal at his mother. So it means that he looked at his mother, and she said, and threw a look of appeal. Appeal means to please. So he looked at his mother because he wanted his mother to stop his father to make him sleep alone in the office room. So her mother says, "Why do you take him to the office room? Why are you taking him to your office room? He can sleep. He can sleep in the hall. I think he can sleep in the hall. Why do you take into the office room?" "I don't think so," father said. Father is saying, "I don't think so. I don't think that the boy would sleep in the hall alone." And Swami slunk behind him with bowed head. So Swami slunk means to move slowly. So Swami moved slowly behind his father with bowed head. So to mainly pay respect. "Let me sleep in the hall, father," Swami pleaded. So Swami pleaded, "Let me sleep in the hall. Let me sleep in the hall. I'll sleep in the hall, father. Let me just do that. Your office room is very dusty and there may be scorpions behind your law books." So he's finding excuses to not to sleep in the office room because it is a closed room. So and the hall is connected with the rooms. So he will not be much scared of that. So he's just finding excuses not to sleep in the office room. So he's saying that your office room is very dusty. The office room of yours is very dusty, and there may be scorpions behind your law books. And maybe his father was a lawyer, or he studied about law. So he's saying that maybe there would be scorpions. Scorpions are dangerous animals, you can say. So behind your law books. So behind your law books there may be scorpions and they can bite me. There are no scorpions, little fellow. So his father is saying there are no scorpions. There would be no scorpions in my office room. Little fellow, sleep on the bench if you like. And then also if you think that there are scorpions, then you can sleep on the bench if you want. If you are scared. So his father understood that he is making excuses not to sleep alone. So he is also trying to avoid his excuses. Now, can I have a lamp burning in the room? So as he's scared of darkness, so he's saying that can I have a lamp burning in the room? I can have a lamp burning in the room. Can you permit me for that? So maybe he's saying that maybe if the light is burning, there would not be much. He would not be much scared. No, you must learn not to be afraid of darkness. So father is also saying that you are afraid of darkness. So you must learn not to be afraid of darkness. It is only a question of habit. So it is nothing. He is saying that it is nothing. It is only a question of habit. So it just depends on your habit. If you have a habit of sleeping alone in the darkness, in the closed room, then you would have a habit, and then you will not be afraid of these things. You must cultivate good habits, and you must have good habits. You must not learn bad habits. You should have good habits. Will you at least leave the door open? So he has found so many excuses. So will you at least leave the door open? So Can you leave the door open? So he's just thinking that you would not be scared much if the door is open, because then the noises and everything would reach his ears. So he's saying that, would you at least leave the door open? Can you just leave the door open? So father agrees with this excuse. So finally father agrees, and he says, all right, but promise you will not. So he's saying that, okay, but promise you will not roll up your bed and go to your granny's side at night. But you have to promise me that you will not roll up your bed, you will not roll up your bed and go to your granny's side at night. So here bed simply means, so now a bed is like a wooden structure on which we sleep. But in this story, it is the bed word is meant with the carpet, the carpet on which Swami is sleeping. So he's saying that you will not roll up the bed, you will not roll it up and go to your granny's side at night, and you'll not go to your granny's room or granny's to granny at night, in the night. If you do it, mind you. So now he is warning him that if you do it, if you go to your granny, then mind my words. I will make you the laughing stock of your school. So he's saying that I would make you the laughing stock of your school. So I'll make fun of you in the school, and everyone would laugh at you because you are afraid, because you're scared of darkness and ghosts, which are not real. So Swami felt cut off from humanity. So Swami is feeling very bad about that. He's been blackmailed, and he's saying that he feels like he is cut off from humanity. He was pained and angry. It means that he was in very pain, and he was also angry to his father because he left him sleep alone in his office room. He didn't like the strain of night. He didn't like the strain of cruelty he saw in his father's nature. So this means that strain means pressure. So he didn't like the pressure which his father was doing to him. His father was pressuring him. His father was commanding him to sleep alone. And of cruelty. Cruelty means like of rudely. So he didn't like the pressure of rude behavior he saw in his father's nature, which he saw in his father. He hated the newspaper for printing the tiger story. Now he hated that newspaper which has printed the tiger story about the boy story, because from that only his father came the idea to make him sleep alone. He wished that the tiger hadn't spared the boy. So Swami wished that the tiger hadn't spared the boy. He would have killed him, so he would be happy. Who didn't appear to be a boy after all, but a monster. So he's now thinking about fictional things to happen, not that the boy climbed the tree and was rescued. He's thinking that who was not a boy, who didn't appear to be a boy. it means that after all but a monster. So who didn't appear to be a boy, who wasn't a boy at all but a monster. So he's thinking about fictional things. As the night advanced and the silence in the house deepened, his heart beat faster. So it means, as the night advanced, as the night fell, as it was going more in time, like it's 12 p.m. now, so it will go 1 p.m. So that's night is advancing, and the silence in the house deepened. And as the night is advancing, everyone will be asleep. So silence would be also silence would be also very less. So the noises now didn't came much. Silence in the house deepened. His heart beat faster. His heart started to beat faster. His heartbeat was more than his normal heartbeat. He remembered all the stories of devils and ghosts he had heard in his life. So now he remembered all the stories which he had heard of devils and ghosts in his whole life, or whatever years of age he is. So he is just now becoming scared of devils and ghosts because he's sleeping alone. Okay. How often had his chum Mani seen the devil in the banyan tree at his street end? So now he's saying that how many times has chum Mani seen the devil in the banyan tree at his street end? So maybe there was a banyan tree at Swami's street end, and how many times his chum means friend. How many times his friend Mani seen the devil in the banyan tree at his street end? So now he is remembering all the stories of devils he has heard. And what about poor Munisami's father, who spat out blood because the devil near the river's edge slapped his cheek when he was returning home late at night? Now he's thinking about one more he had heard. And what about poor Munisami's father? And what about Munisami's father? Maybe she was also a friend of Swami. So what about her? What about her father, who spat out blood because the devil near the river's edge? Who spat out blood? Spat out blood means to throw, to just split the thing from mouth. So he spitted blood. He spat out blood because the devil near the river's edge slapped his cheek. Because the devil, which is a ghost or devil, near the river's edge, near the edge of the river, slapped his cheek when he was returning home late at night. So when the devil slapped Munisami's father, he spat out blood. And so on, his thoughts continued. And this way he remembered all the stories, and his thoughts continue. And now he was feeling very scared. He was faint with fear. He was almost unconscious to lose consciousness. So he was faint with fear. With fear, he was almost unconscious. A ray of light from the street strayed in and cast shadows on the wall. So a ray of light from the street. So maybe the office room was connected with the street after street outside, and the ray of light from that street strayed in means that it came in and cast shadows on the wall and made shadows on the wall of things Through the stillness, all kinds of noises reached his ears. The ticking of the clock, a rustle of trees, snoring sounds, and some vague night insects humming. So this means that there was absolute stillness in the room, and through the stillness of the room, all kinds of noises reached his ears because everything was silent. So every noise was, every small noise was also clear to him. So through the stillness, all kinds of noises reached his ears. The ticking of the clock, like the ticking of the clock when the clock makes sound, right? When its hands move. So then it is called ticking of the clock. A rustle of trees. Rustle of trees means the leaves. There are leaves in the trees, so the leaves, when the leaves move with the wind, then that sound is called rustling of trees. Snoring sounds, when people are asleep, then they snore, right? So there were servants, there was his father, mother, grandmother. So absolutely there were more snoring sounds, and some vague night insects humming. And some vague means not clear, not definite, which means that it's something different kind of insects which Swami didn't know, and they were humming, so they were making sounds. So Swami could hear all these sounds: the ticking of the clock, rustle of trees, snoring sounds, and some vague night insects humming. He covered himself so completely that he could hardly breathe. Now he again covered himself with the blanket so completely that he could hardly breathe. So he covered the blanket over his face, such that he could hardly breathe. Every moment he expected the devils to come up to carry him away. So every moment he expected the devils to come up to carry him away, because he was scared. So he thought that devils would come and carry me away and all that. There was the instance of his old friend in the 4th class suddenly disappeared and was said to have been carried off by a ghost to Siam or Nepal. So again he is remembering the story, devil story, and the story was of his old friend in the 4th class. So it was about his old friend in the 4th class, who was reading in the 4th class, who suddenly disappeared. Who disappeared means didn't appear, and was said to have been carried off by a ghost to Siam or Nepal. So now he is saying that he was said to have been carried off by a ghost to Siam or Nepal, and maybe have been carried and it is said that he was carried away by a ghost to Siam or Nepal. So Siam and Nepal are both places, and maybe this couldn't be happened, that a ghost would carry him away. So maybe it would have been like his father would had his transfer. So then he would have disappeared. He would have taken a TC. Maybe they didn't know about that, so they were making these fictional stories, which can't happen in real life. Swami hurriedly got up and spread his bed under the bench and crouched there. Swami now hurriedly got up. So maybe he was sleeping on the floor. So he got up and spread his bed under the bench and crouched there. So maybe he thought that he would feel secure, he would feel safe under the bench. So he said that. So he went under his bed. So he spread his bed under the bench and crouched there. Crouch there means like to bend your legs and like to bend your legs and your body in a way to be more touched with the ground. Then it seemed to be a much safer place, more compact and reassuring. So it seemed to his mother. It seemed to Swami that it was a much safer place. It was much safe and much secure. More compact means that only, more secure, more safe, and reassuring. And reassuring means making him feel secure, which is written in the book also. If you see in page 14. So it was more reassuring for him. He shut his eyes tightly and encased himself in his blanket once again, and unknown to himself fell asleep, and in sleep was racked with nightmares. So this means that he shut his eyes tight and encased himself in his blanket once again. So he tried to sleep, because if he sleeps, he would forget about these things. So he tried to sleep tight. So he tried to shut his eyes tight. He tried to close his eyes tight, and his sleep was racked with nightmares. He shut his eyes tight and encased himself in his blanket once again. And he again covered himself in his blanket. Encased means covered. And unknown to himself fell asleep. And he didn't know. Obviously, when we sleep, sometimes we don't. If we try to sleep. And again he covered himself in his blanket. And unknown to himself fell asleep. This means that obviously when we sleep, sometimes we are not able to sleep properly for a period of time, for 20 minutes, for 30 minutes. But then, unknown to us, that without knowing to us, we sleep, and we don't know that are we really sleeping or not. So that's what happened with him. So unknown to himself fell asleep. So obviously we fell asleep, right, in the night. It is not like that we can't able to sleep. We are not able to sleep. So he also slept, and in sleep was racked with nightmares. Now he was so scared that in dreams also. Nightmares means dreams, and in sleep was racked with nightmares. That is, racked means to be deeply troubled. And in sleep also he was racked with nightmares. He was troubled with nightmares. A tiger was chasing him. Now the author is describing what nightmare he was seeing, what dream he was seeing, and he was scared of. Sorry. A tiger was chasing him. So a tiger was behind him, and it was chasing him. His feet stuck to the ground, and Swami's feet stuck to the ground, and he is not able to move it. He desperately tried to escape, but his feet would not move. So he desperately tried to escape. Means that with a lot of effort, he tried to escape. But his feet would not move. But his feet would not move at least 1 inch. The tiger was at his back, and the tiger was behind him. It was at his back, and he could hear its claws scratch the ground, and Swami could hear the claws of the tiger scratch the ground, scratch. So he could hear scratching noise, and then a light thud That means to to fell on somebody with deliberately. So maybe Tiger fell on Swami to make a fool of him and eat. Swami tried to open his eyes, but his eyelids would not open. But then Swami desperately tried to open his eyes. Oh, he tried a lot to open his eyes, but his eyelids would not open. But his eyelids would not open. It's not easy to come out of a dream, right? We have to desperately try for it. But the eyelids would not open. And the nightmare continued. That the dream continued. Swami, that the tiger's dream. It threatened to continue forever. So, threaten means like it threatened. So he was very scared of that dream, right? So the dream threatened him to continue forever. That he was scared that the dream would continue forever and it would not stop. Swami groaned in despair. Here, despair means the state of having lost all hope, and groan means the sound which we make when we sleep. That's not snoring, but yes, it's like groaning. It's groaning only. Swami groaned in despair. So now Swami made noise. So now Swami thought that it would continue forever, and he has lost all hope. And in that condition, he was groaning. With a desperate effort, he opened his eyes. And with a very desperate effort, with trying a lot, he opened his eyes. He finally opened his eyes. He put his hand out to feel his granny's presence at his side, as was his habit. But he only touched the wooden leg of the bench. So it means that he put his hand out to feel that Granny was there at his side, as was his habit. So this was his habit whenever he slept. So he put his hand out to feel his Granny's presence, but he only touched the wooden leg of the bench. But this time he could only touch the wooden leg of the bench, and his lonely state came back to him. This means that his lonely state, that was lonely means alone. So being alone in that state came back to him. Again he felt scared. Again he felt like no one is there with me. He sweated with fright. Now he sweated with fright. Fright means to be scared. So he sweated with being scared. And now what was this rustling? And now some movement was there. Some sound came from somewhere. So he thinks, what is this rustling? He moved to the edge of the bench and stared into the darkness. And he moved almost outside towards the edge of the bench, and stared into darkness, and started to look. And stared means to look. So he looked into the darkness. In the darkness, he tried to look what was this making sound. Something was moving down. So he found that something was moving. He lay gazing at it in horror. He laid down, seeing this in horror, in scaredness, in amusement. His end had come. Now he thought that his end had come, means he is going to die now, because he thought that he thought that his end has come. He's going to die because the devil had come. He realized that the devil would presently pull him out and tear him. So now he realized that the devil would presently pull him out. The devil will carry him out and tear him away. And so why should he wait? Means that devil is going to eat him by tearing him, and so why should he wait? So now he thinks that why should he wait for his end to come? As it came more nearer towards, he crawled out from under the bench. He crawled out from under the bench. He was under the he was sleeping under the bench. So he crawled out from there and hugged it with all his might. And whoever devil was there, he hugged it with all his might and used his teeth on it like a mortal weapon. So he used his teeth, means he bited off the leg of the devil. He thought it was a devil. Let's see who was that. So he used his teeth. He bit the leg of the devil, as he thought, on it like a mortal weapon. Mortal means causing death. So he used his teeth on it like a weapon that would make someone die. Ayyo! Something has bitten me. So there came a noise. There came a sound. Someone says something. Ayyo! Something has bitten me. Means that ayyo is just a exclamation thing. When we say we say ouch, so that's only like ayyo. Something has bitten me. Something has bitten me. So who was that? Swami had bitten him with his all might. Went forth an agonized, thundering cry. This means went forth. Went forth means out. Went out and agonized. Agonized means to show extreme pain. So agonized, thundering cry. So these two, agonized and thundering, are the adjectives of cry. So it's showing that in how much extreme pain he was. And was followed by a heavy tumbling and falling amidst furniture. And this cry was followed by a heavy tumbling. Heavy tumbling means to fall down suddenly, to fall something suddenly. So tumbling and falling amidst furniture. Amidst means in middle of. So everything fell down with the cry of the devil. And all three of them fell on the burglar, who lay amidst the furniture with a bleeding ankle. So this means that he wasn't anyone but a burglar. A burglar means that he was a thief. And all three of them. So the cook. Okay, sorry. In a moment, father, cook, and a servant came in carrying light, and hearing all these noises of furniture and falling down of the furniture and the cry. The father, cook, and the servant came in carrying light. So those three came. And all three of them fell on the burglar, who lay amidst the furniture with a bleeding ankle. So the Swami had bitten not anyone else but the burglar. Burglar is a thief. Burglar means a thief. And all three of them fell on the burglar. Means the cook, the servant, and the father, Swami's father, fell on the burglar, who lay amidst the furniture with a bleeding ankle. So amidst means in middle of, I have already explained. and the burglar was laying down crying amidst the furniture. So he laid amidst the furniture, in the middle of the furniture, with a bleeding ankle. And so Swami had bitten his ankle into the flesh of the ankle of the most notorious thief. So it's just saying that congratulations were showered on Swami next day. So it means Swami was congratulated for the work he has done. He helped the police in catching such a notorious thief, such a notorious burglar, we can say. And his classmates looked at him with respect. And when he went to the school the next day, his classmates looked at him with respect. They showed him respect, and his teacher patted his back. And Swami's teacher patted the back of the boy. The headmaster said that he was a true scout. So the headmaster, who was the in charge of the principal, said that he was a true scout. Scout is a reference to the Boy Scouts, which trains young people in practical physics skills and survival tactics. So the headmaster said that Swami was a true scout, was really a scout, so had helped in catching the thief. Swami had bitten into the flesh of one of the most notorious housebreakers of the district, and the police were grateful to him for it. Swami had bitten into the flesh. So it basically means that Swami had bitten the flesh of one of the most notorious. Notorious means very famous, very dangerous. So notorious simply means very dangerous. So one of the most notorious housebreakers of the district. Housebreaker means thieves. Of the district, and Swami had bitten into the flesh of one of the most notorious thief of the district, and the police were grateful to him for it. Grateful means to be thankful, and the police officers were thankful to him for because he helped in catching such a dangerous thief, or you can say burglar. The inspector who was looking at that case said, Swami, why don't you join the police when you're grown up? When you grow up, why don't you join the police? Means he's offering a job to him. If you can join the police because you're. The inspector thought that he was so brave, so that's why he helped in catching such a thief. But the reality was that what all Swami had done was all in his scaredness. Swami said, for the sake of politeness. So just to be polite, just to agree with the inspector, he said, certainly yes. Okay, maybe yes. Okay, I'll join. Though he had quite made up his mind to be an engine driver, a railway guard, or a bus conductor later in life. Means that he wanted to be an engine driver, railway guard, or a bus conductor later in life when he is grown up. So he wanted. He's already made his mind to be these. When he returned home from the club that night, father asked, "Where is the?" So when father returned from the club that night, so maybe the father has joined the cricket club, and when he returned home from the cricket club that night, the next day of this incident, father asked, "Where is the boy?" Swami's father asked, "Where is the boy? Where is Swami? Isn't he there? He's asleep." So he's asleep means that he's already in sleep. He had gone to bed already. So father exclaimed, already? Really? So early? He had gone to sleep. He didn't have a wink of sleep the whole of last night, said his mother. So his mother said that he didn't have a wink of sleep. He couldn't sleep properly, even for a minute, of the whole of last night. In the whole last night, so he couldn't sleep. So that's why he is already asleep. So he is asleep is also said by his mother only, as it is said that this line, he didn't have a wink of sleep. This line is said by her mother. So this is a conversation between Swami's mother and Swami's father. Where is he sleeping? So father asks, where is he sleeping? Is he sleeping in the office room, or is he sleeping beside his granny again? In his usual place. Mother said casually, in his usual place means where he slept always with his granny, beside his granny. He went to bed at 7:30. So mother said very quiet, casually, not being very formal, like it regularly happens like that only. He went to bed at 7:30. So his mother is saying that he went to bed. He went at 7:30. He is already gonna sleep. He had gone to sleep at 7:30 only. Sleeping beside his granny again, father said. Now father was very angry. He said, sleeping beside his granny again. Again he's sleeping with his granny only. No wonder he wanted to be asleep before I could return home. Clever boy. So he understood that Swami wanted to be asleep before he could return home, so that the father don't insist him to sleep in the office room. So he's really a clever boy, exclaimed his father. Mother lost her temper, means that mother became very angry. You let him sleep where he likes. You needn't risk his life again. So mother became very angry and she said, you sleep where he likes. You don't decide where should he sleep. You let him sleep where he likes. You should let him sleep where he likes. You needn't risk his life again, because a burglar or a thief can come again also. So you need not have to risk Swami's life again. You can't do that. Now father mumbled as he went in to change. So father mumbled means to speak very very silently so that nobody could hear. It basically means to speak on your own, to your own. So sorry. Father mumbled as he went in to change. So he went inside the room to change and he mumbled, all right, Mollycoddle, and spoil him as much as you like. Only don't blame me afterwards. Now he is also almost angry only, so disappointed with Swami's mother that she is being a mollycoddle. Mollycoddle means to be very kind and protective. So father also said that, all right, Mollycoddle, okay, you're so towards him, and spoil him as much as you like, and spoil him being protective, so much kind to him, and spoil him, and don't let him brave, don't let him be courageous, don't let him be independent or brave. Only don't blame me afterwards. Only just don't blame me afterwards that I didn't do anything for him, because I did everything. I wanted him to sleep in the office room, but you are being really a mollycoddle and you're not letting him sleep. So don't blame me when he's not brave, when he's not courageous, when he's very scared of everything. So don't blame me. Okay, Swami following the whole conversation from under the blanket. So Swami was really clever as taught by his father. So he was following. He was all the conversation between his father and his mother from under the blanket, so that nobody could see him, that he was not sleeping, and he was listening to what his father and mother was saying. Felt tremendously relieved to hear that his father was giving him up, and he was so happy to hear that his father was giving him up. So tremendously means very, and relieved means pleaded, as your fear and worry has been taken away. So he's really relieved to hear the conversation that his father was giving him up, that his father is letting him sleep alone. Is letting him sleep in beside his granny in the passage only. So this ends the story, and this was really a beautiful story, and it is written by R.K. Narayan. Hope you enjoyed everything I explained you, and thank you. In the next video, I'll tell you about the question answers of this chapter. So there are reading 1 question, reading 2 hots. Okay, so we are going to do these 2, and vocabulary and grammar is to be done by you, and punctuation is really easy, so you can do these things. Just the grammar thing I'm not going to tell you. I'm just going to tell you the questions from this particular chapter. So it's really going to be fun. So thank you everyone. Bye, and have a nice day.